All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to another episode of Hey, MrSotko, what do you think of this? And it's going to be combined with some news and other fun stuff. But before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to 3 new donators to the channel, and that's going to be Barry Gill. Dan donated 5 Vertcoin. We got Mike Horde, who donated $7.98 in Bitcoin. I think it was supposed to be $8, but the fee was 2 cents or so there. And we have Matthew Seibert for $10 in Litecoin. I'm not sure if I said that last name wrong, and if I did, don't worry about it, because my real last name is actually pretty much impossible to pronounce for most people, so don't worry about it. Although it's not a Polish last name or something like that, which is even harder. But moving on here, so last episode I made of this, I just sort of answered all of the questions in the comments, and I don't know how long I can keep this sort of thing up, because sometimes I get a ton of comments, sometimes I get a little bit of comments, and of course, as my channel grows even more, I will have even more and more comments. So for now, let's just kind of do it this way. It's sort of fun. So the first comment is, what happens to crypto when it's all mined out and it's worth a few hundred Satoshi, still on an exchange, but no one mining, so no one keeping the blockchain up to date? Would the trade just stay in pending forever until one miner reconnects, or would it need a full block to transfer, with the blockchain history being so large by this point? Would the miner have to download the entire blockchain and make a new block just to update the blockchain for the single transaction? Okay, so now I don't mean to be rude in the very least, but I think this commenter doesn't really have a clear understanding of a bunch of things here. So let me try and sort this out just a tiny bit. So when a crypto is all mined out, which I don't even know if any crypto has been officially mined out. First of all, Bitcoin will have 21 million coins in existence, but that won't be till about 2145, and by that I mean the year 2145. So by then, I do believe that Bitcoin itself probably won't be popular. I feel that something else would come along by then. I mean, because we're talking well over 100 years. So in 100 years, I mean, who knows what will happen with technology? I mean, just think of 120 years ago, we just barely invented the combustion engine for the most part. Although my history on that is, of course, a little off. But for the most part, cars just started on the road about 120 years ago. And now we're, going to the moon, or, sending probes to Mars and landing landers on the moon Titan, and landing landers on the planet Venus and such. So completely different story. So that's probably not going to happen anytime soon with crypto. It's not going to be mined out anytime soon. So and with miners do not keep the blockchain up to date. The blockchain itself keeps itself up to date with transfers. So say, for example, I send you some Bitcoin, that updates the blockchain. So I sent something across a blockchain, and then therefore all the nodes have to recognize that transaction. So even if everything was all mined out, let's say Bitcoin was completely mined out, there's 21 million Bitcoins in existence, minus any ones that were lost or anything like that. And so miners do not keep up the blockchain, transactions themselves do. So would the trade just stay in pending forever? Yeah, so, the blockchain and trading does not necessarily have anything to do with each other for the most part. I mean, sending each other does, but, so yeah, it's a very, very strange question with the blockchain history being so large at that point. Again, the miners just don't have anything to necessarily do with the blockchain. Of course, you're creating more of the blockchain, but also transactions create the blockchain too. So even if a crypto was all mined out, it has nothing to do with mining at that point. Then it's just transaction history. So I'm going to move on from that one, because it's worded very, very odd. You good and friendly guy. And then your mom gay. How about somebody touch my spaghetti? That's on that one. Hey, MrSotko, can you make a video explaining airdrops and the easiest way to capitalize on the free token? So airdrops, they are what they are. I mean, they're usually really small amounts. And for example, that Bitcoin lottery site that I always talk about, they do give out free Satoshis, which is the 8th digit in a Bitcoin. It's not even worth $1. I'm not even sure if that's worth a penny. It's a very, very, very low amount, and they expect you to accumulate like 10,000 of them before you even can cash out, and that's, you know, just pennies, and then they want you to trade them and stuff, and they're just taking your money. So airdrops are just marketing campaigns. They give you just a tiny little bit, and it's not really, honestly, you could just mine more than that. What do you think about the Chainlink token and the smart contract site? So Chainlink, for example, is doing okay as a cryptocurrency. It's gone up in price, and it's staying good-ish. I know it's looking like it's going down, but pretty much everything's going down right now. You know, crypto is not doing too hot right now in a lot of ways. Of course, crypto is what it always has been, but I'll get into more of the reason why crypto isn't doing so good right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So Chainlink is sort of like Ethereum. So Ethereum, for anybody that doesn't know, you can essentially build contracts and apps on the Ethereum blockchain. So the Ethereum blockchain itself, every little blockchain, can hold some amount of information. So you can make all kinds of applications with it. You could store data on the blockchain, and therefore the blockchain is now secure because of its algorithm, because of the cryptography of it, if you will. And so you can put a lot of secure information on it and use the Ethereum token for that. So that's why a lot of ICOs, like, they always want you to insert Ethereum, because they want more Ethereum to work with their application on. However, Chainlink, one of the downfalls of Ethereum is that it cannot query information that is not on the blockchain. So Chainlink kind of fills that gap where you can put information on Chainlink, and at the same time, Chainlink can access information that is not on its own blockchain. And so that's something they're kind of working on. So it is kind of unique. And let me get to the rest of the question. There was a little bit more. Do you think it would be a good idea to invest into it? Sure. I don't see why not. It's not an outright scam or anything. You know, the price might go up in the future. There's no guarantee of that. But I think the best investments are really some of the top coins, like the top 10 coins. And I hate to pigeonhole anybody into those top 10 coins, but those top 10 coins are going to do the best in the future. Meaning like Litecoin, IOTA, Ripple, Ethereum, Bitcoin, things like that. So the safest bet, the top 10 coins. What's your opinion on Dascoin? Marketplace will be the end of April. Haven't heard of Dascoin. So now don't be surprised when I haven't heard of a coin or heard of something. A lot of the times I end up having to look up information just like you guys. The reason is because there are probably dozens of coins that come out every day. At the moment, there are thousands of different cryptocurrencies. Most of them are, unfortunately, pretty useless. So a lot of ICOs just come out to provide money for some other project. So if somebody's, you know, making some kind of website or something like that, they might make a coin that's associated with that website and really nothing else to make a whole bunch of money with the ICO. And that's not a problem because, you know, some people can buy that ICO and then later trade it and sell it and make money off of it. But haven't heard of Dascoin, so I don't really have too much of an opinion on that. Hey, MrSotko, could you share some love and do a video on a GDAX customer support? What customer support? Fortunately, I've never had any problems with Coinbase or GDAX ever. You know, I put money into it. I get my crypto. You know, I use my debit or credit card. Sometimes I try to avoid the fees mostly, and I make videos on how to avoid those fees. But I have never had any problems with them. However, what I do know is that Twitter has become a very good customer service tool. In the past, I would say past year or two. So any major corporation, hell, even my internet service provider, Cox, and yes, it literally is called Cox, with an X, has a Twitter. And like if you have any kind of outage and you say, hey, what's going on with my internet on Twitter to Cox Internet Customer Service, they get back to you really, really quick because it's totally public. And so same way with Walmart and all these corporations, if you go onto their Twitters, you'll see just nothing but complaints and somebody getting back to them very, very quickly. So Twitter has become very, very good for that. So I would tweet to them on your problem. So, because I don't know what your problem is. Loved the band, dude. Thank you. I'm no longer in that band. I moved across the United States and they found a new drummer. And I think they're still doing well. I haven't kept in contact with for the most part, but I do know that they continued to play shows and things like that without me after I was gone. But I did play probably hundreds of shows, you know, to upwards of 300 people. I was on the radio a couple times, did numerous interviews, made a CD. It was on, I think it was on iTunes and like Amazon or something like that for a while. I'm not really sure. I don't think we made a lot of money with it, but it was fun. It was fun for the while. What do you think about Lisk? Don't really have too many opinions on it, unfortunately. Cool video. I enjoy these rambling answering question episodes. Well, you should enjoy this one as well. Please explain the function of the Vault in Coinbase. The Vault is basically for millionaires. They came out with that, what was that, like 3 months ago now? Something like that. Excuse me. And it is basically for high-end people on Coinbase. Like if you have like $1 million in crypto, you can actually have them put it in a separate private vault, which is a cold storage vault. So it's like, for the most part, pretty much guaranteed to be totally safe. But for normal people, you won't really use the vault. Hands down, coolest crypto YouTuber. Thank you. Keep up the sauce. Got that sauce. I've had so many people say that they don't like me doing that, but I think it's funny, so. I don't know what you mean by that. I think I looked at that comment, and I looked at 618, and I'm not really sure what was meant by that, but either way. Puerto Rico becoming crypto utopia. Haven't heard too much about that, and I look up crypto news pretty much every day, so maybe I missed that one. What do you think of this? How to use the order book for entries and exits? I've sort of already made a video on the order book. I called it the demand chart, and that's what I know it's called the order book, I get it, but like I really feel that it is the demand chart because it shows the demand of sellers and buyers all meeting each other, and I made a video on that, on how to sort of read it, and it's not always correct. Mind you, that's not always correct because the demand can shift in an instant, but it is one of your tools to day trade. So if you see a lot of volume coming off, it would be a good time to sell and buy and things like that. So check out that video and maybe you learn something. These coins belong to the people. I think he's referring to my thumbnail. Good old Stalin coming in with his Stalinism. Sotko, can we Discord and you teach me what's happening live? Sure I can. For $1 trillion. It's worth a shot. Every video that you say sauce, I will thumbs up. Well, thumbs up this one. Most informational and easily watchable channel on YouTube. Thank you. Do you think a coin could succeed if its main goal was supporting small businesses? Oh, we got a long one here. For example, retailers that accept cryptocurrency would get a small reward sent to a custom wallet in which those coins cannot be used until they mature, similar to a savings bond. So a customer could spend 1 coin at your local mom and pop hobby store. The hobby store can do whatever they want with the 1 coin. They would also receive a fraction of a coin sent to them per transaction. This coin would go into a wallet where it would mature for 1 to some odd months before becoming spendable. This would mean the average consumer would not be able to stake their coins in order to overinflate the coin, but it would highly incentivize businesses to not only accept crypto, but also keep them involved with the technology by having fractions of coins mature in a separate wallet, thus keeping businesses in crypto and providing a coin that's more commonly accepted in day-to-day activity. I think at first glance that's a pretty good idea, and I think if you worked it out, that would be a pretty good idea. So I'm definitely not just going to throw your idea to the wind, but what I would like to know in that is where would those extra coins come from? And if the coin is not mineable or stakeable, where are those coins coming from? They've already existed in the first place, and so there's just a lot missing from that, I think. So like, where would those extra little amounts come from, and why couldn't you spend them in a sense? I don't know. It's a good idea. Maybe work it out a little bit more. I'm a professional graphic designer. If you want to help in thumbnails, let me know. You know, that's a great offer. Maybe I'll get a hold of you for that. I do like the fact that I don't. I sort of pigeonhole my own YouTube channel by not making clickbaity thumbnails. You know, like people will make those clickbaity thumbnails like I lost all my crypto, and it shows them like pasted and cut it out on there with the big letters on their thumbnails, and those get you a lot more clicks, therefore a lot more money, therefore a lot more subscribers and things like that. But I think that if you have to bait people into your channel, maybe you're baiting the wrong people. I would like more patient people to come to my channel, more patient, intelligent people. I'm not saying that like unintelligent people click on those links, but I think that when it comes to something like investing, you need to have a lot of patience. So I've made a lot of videos that sort of went over time on a topic that maybe I talked a little bit too long about. And I've had some people say, you know, oh, this video was too long. It could have been just like 3 minutes. And then the only response that I have to them, and I almost feel a little rude saying it, but at the same time, it's totally true, in the sense that I say to them back, like, well, if you can't watch a 12-minute video, then maybe you shouldn't be investing. You know, if you don't have the time to sit and watch something and you're getting impatient watching it, or you're losing interest, maybe you shouldn't be a trader, because a lot of times, you know, investing is a very long-term thing. I mean, if you buy coins at the beginning of the year and hold them all the way till December, you've made yourself quite a bit of money. But if you don't have the patience to do that, then you probably shouldn't be an investor. I think Nano will be the next coin on Coinbase because scalability. I don't think so. I think Ripple will be the next one. Even though they deny that will be the case, I think Ripple will be the next one. Coinbase is very, very picky with the coins that they put on, and people pressure them to put more coins on, and they just haven't budged at all. But there are rumors about Ripple, excuse me, which I will get into in a moment. What do you think of the sowcey crypto drama? Big Fat Lenny Club. Oh, jeez. Gotta love that sowcey to some degree. Although I don't want to see people losing money, that kind of sowcey. But some drama's pretty good. So moving on from that, I want to talk about some news and, you know, just some other stuff. And I know people are just a little bit sick of me talking about Trevin James, and I don't really want to be on there. I'd rather be on this video here. So this is his latest video. He made a video just before this one, sort of talking about something similar. But so Trevin James's court date is the 16th, and he was talking about how he was getting a lawyer and talking about lawyers, and then he was also, again, talking about how he doesn't need a lawyer and things like that. So if you go into court for anything without a lawyer, you're a fool. If you get summoned to court for just about any reason, other than just to simply be a witness or something like that without a lawyer, you're an outright fool. I'm sorry. So in this video, just about the time that I have on here, I think I can let it play here.
But I said that I put it in the terms as what the subpoena says. I'm scheduled to testify. So what I hear when I hear the word testify, I'm not going on trial, which was my initial thought was I was going to be on trial. But I'm cool with testifying, man. I have no problem. You know, I never talked about that, but I got an FBI agent came to my house, and I eventually talked to him on the phone, and I told the whole story. We talked for an hour and 30 minutes.
So there we go. So nobody really knows, of course, what's going to happen in this court case. I doubt he's going to go to prison. I really doubt that. At the most, I think he'll have to pay some of the investors back in some Bitcoin, or he might be fined, or there might be some kind of trouble. But prison, I kind of doubt it. I think I would be surprised by that. So now he's saying that he has to just testify in front of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, rather than be on trial itself. So I'm not really entirely sure what's going to happen. So with a testify, that's a totally different story. If you're on trial, it's one thing. If you're testifying, it is another, unless you totally incriminate yourself in a horrible way. So he says he has been talking to lawyers, yet he has been all over Twitter saying that glad I don't know more than I know and can't wait to testify and stuff like that. So he's talking on The first thing a lawyer is going to tell you, the first thing any good lawyer is going to tell you is to just shut your mouth. Just stop talking. Like if you don't say anything, you don't get in trouble for the most part. You know, if you get arrested or something like that, the cops are going to ask you, hey, like what happened here, or what did you do, or tell us what happened, something along those lines. All you have to do is just go, oh, I need a lawyer. That's the only thing you should say, is I need a lawyer. In almost all cases, unless you're completely innocent and a cop just came by to like to see what was going on, like, hey, did you see some guy running? You could be like, yeah, he ran that way, and like that's not going to incriminate you. But for the most part, you don't have to talk to the police ever. Now he's making these online public videos even after he is talking to a lawyer, which is just terrible. I almost feel bad at this point. He's just so naive. But I don't think anything bad is going to happen to him. Another really bad move that he made is that an FBI agent came to his house and talked to him for an hour and a half, and he said he feels good about it afterwards. And so that's exactly what an FBI agent would do, is that they would come to your house and make you feel all buddy, right? Like, oh no, you're not in trouble. I just want to talk. Let's just talk it out and see what happened, right? And so everything you say, I hate to be cheesy here, can be used against you. They recorded that whole thing. He probably told them everything, how much money he made, when he got started into it, you know, everything about BitConnect, all the affiliate links and referral links or whatever. Probably told them everything. Not good. If an FBI agent came to my house and started talking to me, I'd be like, gonna need a lawyer first. I'm sorry, like I don't mean to be rude, but gonna need my lawyer, you know. But he just let him into his house, and if they didn't have a warrant, FBI agent, Mr. FBI agent, I'm gonna have to tell you to go ahead and fuck yourself. I hate to be so cruel on YouTube there, but for the most part, they shouldn't be in your house or talking to you unless they have a warrant. Now into some news. So Bitcoin transaction volume reaches a 2-year low. And this is kind of where I'm getting into what I was saying earlier. So the 7-day average for the number of daily Bitcoin transactions has reached a 2-year low, recently dropping below 160,000 for the first time since March 2016. The lull in transactions coincides with the weekly volume of Bitcoin exchanged through peer-to-peer trading volume on local Bitcoins recently dipping below 6,000 for the first time since February 2014. The number of confirmed daily Bitcoin transactions has dropped substantially in recent weeks, with blockchain info data indicating the 7-day average falling from an all-time high of nearly 350,000 on the 16th of December to reach lows between 150 to 155,000. So very, very low. And from this, I would like to go to this article here because it's sort of relevant in with the first article being said. So the general public won't care about crypto until it breaks past 20K. So before I even start reading this, I just want to give sort of an overview of my own opinion of this immediately before I even begin starting this. So Bitcoin in December, I think December 18th was the highest date, somewhere around there, 16th to the 18th. Bitcoin reached about $19,800. So what you have to understand is that people bought that Bitcoin all the way up. It wouldn't have got to 19,800 without that final person buying all the way at the top. There had to be one final person. So we're talking people all the way up. And then when Bitcoin went down, it crashed to, I think it was like, 6,000, maybe a little under 6,000, all the way back down. So that means all those people all the way to the tippy top are stuck at their position unless they sold themselves short. And, you know, maybe when it went down to 16, they sold it and then picked it back up at 6. They would have made themselves quite a bit of Bitcoin doing that. However, most people probably didn't do that or used a stop loss order or some kind of stop order, something like that on their exchange, or sold themselves short. So that means that a whole bunch of Bitcoin is sort of stuck in limbo, right? So it's just sitting there. It can't be traded now because if they trade it, they're going to lose a ton of money. If you bought $10,000 or something like that of Bitcoin at $19,000, you're just stuck, right? So that's all that Bitcoin, all that volume of Bitcoin, all the way up there in the high teens and the teens of Bitcoin are stuck. So that means that the liquidity and the volume is very, very low now, because all those people that would normally be day trading, or all those people that would normally be just semi-day trading, are now just stuck and frozen in limbo, and they're forced to either just buy new Bitcoin. And that's a big problem. That's why we're seeing this lull in cryptocurrency. That's why we're seeing low prices in crypto mining. That's why we're seeing Bitcoin unable to really breach $12,200. That's why we're seeing Litecoin dumping and stuff, because it's all stuck in limbo. Litecoin got all the way up to $400, and all that coin all the way up between $250 and $400 is just stuck in limbo, and it's not being traded now. So it's you might as well have just at the moment, you might as well just throw all that Bitcoin away like it never existed, and those investors along with them. So when Bitcoin gets to 20K again, that means everybody's going to be freed. All those shackles are going to be freed now. Those exchange and trading, and volume and liquidity shackles essentially are gone. And then the price can shoot up or shoot down pretty fast from that point. So let's read this. So when the Robinhood app announced they would be allowing crypto purchases, a few news sites heralded this news as a way for millions of new people to start pumping into crypto. So at this time, I didn't really believe it. And as it turns out, I was right. And I agree with the author here. I didn't see Robinhood app as a game changer. I never really did. I mentioned it a couple times in news articles because, it was news, but it's just not a simple game changer. And the reason is simply because the general public has lost interest in crypto for the time being. Even though all of us in the crypto echo chamber still think it's the biggest thing in the world, the general public has a much different view. And only when Bitcoin breaks 20K will that change. The sentiment of the general public has very much changed from late 2017, when virtually anybody you met was thinking about buying some Bitcoin. Or had already bought some. Even grandparents who can barely use a modern phone were asking family members about this Bitcoin thing that they keep hearing about. Even my wife's family and everything like that knew basically what I was doing as a YouTuber and as a Bitcoin trader, and they were talking about it. At my wife's place of employment, they know that her husband, me, trades Bitcoin, and that her as well is into Bitcoin. And a lot of them subscribe to my YouTube channel, and a lot of them always ask her, on a semi or weekly basis that, how's Bitcoin doing, or how can I get into Bitcoin, or I watch your husband's videos and, I want to talk to him, or I want to see how I can get into Bitcoin too. So it was really, really huge. And let me tell you one thing, I can tell you for sure, I'm not really going to show them, but my YouTube analytics are downhill. Viewers, if you look at it from the past month or month and a half, it's like this, just a dive in terms of viewership, in terms of revenue, in terms of shares, in terms of likes, in terms of dislikes, in terms of videos and playlists. Every analytic is in the dumps for the most part. I think lately my longer videos have increased the view time, the view retention time, but for the most part everything is in the dumps. And I'm not really complaining about that. I just know that sometimes things fluctuate and things like that. But I can attest to the proof that Bitcoin and crypto in general is not falling out of favor. I want to use the right terminology, but you can use the terminology that is in this article here, that the general public has a much different view, and that people are losing interest in some way, shape, or form. But in this modern age, things come and go faster than ever, and for now, most of the public doesn't care that Bitcoin has already doubled from its low of around 5K. All they think about is Bitcoin crashed from 20K. So right now, it is considered a loser unless you bought a long time ago. The notion of getting rich by buying Bitcoin is now is not really a part of the narrative anymore among the general public. But all that can change, and it will take Bitcoin breaking through 20K for it to happen. When Bitcoin breaks past 20K, it will come back into the public eye as a winner again, a way to get rich. And this is really true. And I think a lot of people thought that Bitcoin, is a way to get rich. And to some degree it is. And, I make a you know, I make a fairly good living, you know, just day trading and essentially teaching people about Bitcoin. But is it going to make you rich right off the bat? Well, no. I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna be realistic. I think my channel has been very realistic from the start about Bitcoin. So if you were the kind of person that had $100,000 or $1,000,000 to put down on Bitcoin, sure, you would make a ton. If you put $1,000,000 on Bitcoin, you could have something like nearly 100 Bitcoin, and every trade that you made, even if you just traded Bitcoin and it was at 10,000 and you sold it for 10,100 and then you bought it back at 10,000 and you did that a few times, I mean, $100 times 100, I mean, that's like 10,000, that's $10,000 that you would make per trade for just $100. But if you're the kind of person that just has 1,000 or something like that, it's not going to be particularly impressive for you. Of course, you're going to be making money by making good trades, but you're not going to get rich. And so I think this sentiment came from before I was on YouTube, before I was a YouTuber, or I've been a YouTuber for a while in terms of gaming and crypto, but before I really got hard into crypto, you know, at the beginning of 2017, Bitcoin was at about $1,000, and at the end of 2017, it was at 20,000. So people saw that big difference, and then also people were hearing in the news and on articles and things like that of these Bitcoin millionaires because they got into Bitcoin in 2009 or 2010 or 2011 when it was extremely low price and it was very easy to mine. In 2009 and 2010, you could make $6+ Bitcoin a day. It was fodder. It was nothing. I have a friend that told me that somebody tried to get him into Bitcoin a long time ago, and you know, to start mining, and this was like 2009, 2010. And back in the day, what you have to understand is they didn't make a lot of these motherboards with 4, 5, 6 GPUs. They didn't have GPU risers back then. I mean, maybe they did, but nobody really knew about this sort of thing. So nowadays you're seeing these rigs with 8, 10 GPUs or more because of all the PCI risers that connected into the board and raised them off the board. But back in the day, it was just you would just slap 2 crappy graphics cards on a motherboard, and you would just do that over and over. So you would have motherboard after motherboard after motherboard with just 2 crappy graphics cards in each one. And so he got into mining, and he was making like $4 in a week, you know. Which he was just like, well, what is this? What's the point of this? Like, he's like, $4, man, like, or like $6, $10 a week. I don't get the point of this. If you want $4, I'll give you $4. He basically told them, like, this is ridiculous, you know, and he gave up. But if you had been mining that whole time, you might have had tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time today. So people saw that, and they had their rose-colored glasses on. They had their, you know, their 20/20 vision on. They had their retrospect glasses on, and they thought that the same thing was going to happen, and that the price was just going to keep going up and up and up. And there was constant articles of people, you know, saying that Bitcoin's going to be $1 million, Bitcoin's going to be $50,000, and it's just not going to happen. So, again, people are all trapped in the high teens of Bitcoin right now. And so that disillusioned a lot of people that they bought in, you know, when they seen how much it was. Wow, $15,000, $14,000, $16,000 a Bitcoin. Holy crap, I need to get in on this right now. And they bought, and it went to 19,000 and then dipped all the way to 6,000. That really mentally disrupted a lot of people and disillusioned a lot of people. You know, but a real crypto trader like myself, a Bitcoin, you know, somebody who's hardened to the system, just saw another dip. So here's another article. Ripple soars, then plunges off Coinbase rumors again. Before we get into this, let's look at that 7-day. Went up to about $1.04, $1.07-ish, $1.08, and then right back down. Whoops. So now into the article. In times of economic uncertainty, Bitcoin flourishes. Not now, get away from me. Bitcoin flourishes in time of high fees. Litecoin prospers, and in times of Coinbase rumors, Ripple shines. Today was one such day. In a repeat of December, January, and every other month, XRP has been linked with Coinbase. The altcoin rose rapidly in value on March 5th, only to sink once the U.S. exchange debunked those rumors. So this is not the first time there has been a Ripple rumor going on Coinbase. And I was just talking about this, how they thought in the comment section, he was saying, do you think, what was it, Nano was going to be on Coinbase? And I was like, no, I don't think it is. I think Ripple will be the first one, but right now we will get into that in a little bit. So in the movie Groundhog Day, weatherman Phil Connors, played by Bill Murray, great movie. If you guys have never seen Groundhog Day, please get on that immediately. It's such a great movie. Is forced to relive the same day over and over until he finally learns to get his affairs in order. Ripple fans seem to be stuck in their very own Groundhog Day, a recurring nightmare in which XRP only pumps when the Coinbase listing rumor is trotted out. For all the work Ripple have done in seeking to develop a Middle Eastern partnerships and persuade banks to trial their cryptocurrency, it seems to have little impact on the price. At the mention of Coinbase, however, the coin embarks on a rapid ascent, and then other altcoins in the shade. It puts all their altcoins in the shade. So on March 5th, XRP began one of those climbs and was soon the day's best performer at 15% to a peak of $7. Still a long way from its January peak of $3.64, admittedly, but a solid start nonetheless, and enough to give Riplets hope that their chosen coin was undergoing a long overdue revival. Coinbase listing was coming, the word on the web went, and Ripple was as good as confirmed. And then, cruelly, Coinbase broke its silence to state that it had no plans to add new altcoins anytime soon. While it didn't mention XRP specifically, the implication was clear. We have no decision to add additional assets to either GDAX or Coinbase. Any statement to the contrary is untrue and not authorized by the company. So here's why I think this, why they don't really want Ripple on there just yet. I think they're just delaying. I think they want it on there, but they're delaying a little bit because of the Bitcoin Cash drama that occurred when they released Bitcoin Cash about 10 days early, randomly, out of absolute nowhere. They were just like, oh, it's on, look at us, with no warning whatsoever. They just put it on Bitcoin, on Coinbase, and it was supposed to be released, like I said, about 10 days later than they put it on. And it was just a total fiasco. It rose the price to ridiculous astronomical levels, and nobody could sell it. They could just buy it. It was terrible. It was horrible. And there was claims of insider trading and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of conspiracies popped up. So they're in the middle of some drama with that, I would imagine, still. And they probably don't want to add XRP anytime soon. So U.S. Marshals Service to sell nearly $25 million worth of seized Bitcoin at an auction. So I'll just sort of paraphrase and skip through this one. So complete with a $200,000 deposit. So if you want to register or participate, you have to have a $200,000 deposit. So the Bitcoins will be offered in 14 different blocks. So 2 blocks of 500 Bitcoin, 11 blocks of 100 Bitcoin, and 1 block of approximately 70 Bitcoin. Winning bidders will be notified privately the same day as the auction. So I'm not sure where the auction is going to be, but if you have $200,000, it might be some time to get some nice cheap Bitcoin from the government. Good stuff. Tether might be crypto's ticking time bomb. So, yes, the Tether drama is not over. I know that it seemed like it was, but nobody actually ever audited Tether. We'll skip a little bit because I think if you guys don't already know the Tether drama, basically Tether is backed by the US dollar, and so for every US dollar that somebody inserts to an exchange that has Tether, they make 1 Tether. So there should be an equal amount or a relatively equal amount of Tether to US dollar, which some people think that they pump it unnecessarily. And what Tether does is provide very, very easy liquidity to the two exchanges. So, for example, some exchanges don't have the US dollar on it, so you have to trade it Bitcoin to Litecoin sort of thing. Like if you have Litecoin and you want to buy Bitcoin, you have to do this ratio change, and it's actually very confusing. So, you know, if you want to if you have like 2 Litecoin and you want to buy a Bitcoin, that's equal to, I'm just throwing a number out here, so so don't take this number to to heart here. So that would be like 0.03 Bitcoin that you would receive, but you have to nail that price exactly, and it's extremely confusing because it's not in US dollars. It's not like you're selling your Litecoin for $400 to Litecoin for $400 and then buy $400 worth of Bitcoin. It's this total confusing exchange. So Tether came into play. So what you do is you buy Tether with either US dollars or your debit card or something like that, or Litecoin. And so one Litecoin, let's say, is $200 at the time. So you buy $200 worth of Tether exactly, which makes a lot of sense. And then you can take that Tether to any exchange. You can throw that Tether all around the internet, just like crypto, and send it from exchange to exchange. And then you can take that Litecoin, $200 in Litecoin, get $200 in Tether, and then buy other altcoins, like buy $200 worth of Neo, or buy $200 worth of Vertcoin or Bitcoin or something like that. The problem is that people think that they falsely pump Tether and just falsely print Tether essentially and inflate it, so that the price of Bitcoin itself is inflated as well. So an audit by the firm Friedman LLP was supposed to prove that the US dollar was fully backed, but recently Tether abruptly announced that its relationship with Friedman had ended. It remains unclear who dumped whom and why. So now, with no audit forthcoming, the doubts are as pervasive as ever. So when contacted, excuse me, I'm just messing up here, for this column, a spokesperson for Tether would say only, regarding the audit, we have no further comment. So that's pretty shady, and I think if you guys aren't acclimated to the crypto world yet, shadiness means, I don't want to call Tether an outright scam without full knowledge of it, but shadiness is very bad in the crypto world. Anything that's shady is typically a scam, and it has always been. So ICOs that don't show the developer teams, lending coins that don't show the developer teams, like BitConnect. I don't think BitConnect did. I don't believe it did. But I know Devorcoin did not. There was no customer service number. There was no customer email. There was no developer team. And when you see that, you pretty much know it's a scam. And I think we all should know by now that if you don't see a developer team, if you don't have a way to contact them, if somebody just says no further comment, then it's pretty bad. If they were truly legit, they could just easily have an auditor come in and make sure that it was legit. But when you avoid auditing, obviously there's some kind of problem there, and they don't want something to be found out. So so Tether is described as systematically important, which is the polite term regulators use for too big to fail. So don't count on government bailout, though. So if Tether was to be found out that it was a scam and it collapsed, the price of crypto could be shattered, essentially, because it provides massive liquidity for certain exchanges that don't have the US dollar or something like that on them. So if Tether went down, it would be a problem, to say the least. I think crypto would recover and it would be fine in the end, but let's just say that there would be a massive shock, a massive dip. Here's an interesting little thing here. I was looking up the YouTube creation date there, because my YouTube was created in February 2016 or November 2006, and YouTube itself was created in February 14th, 2005, I think. So, or 2006. So I don't know. I have a very, very, very old YouTube. So the odds of guessing winning Powerball numbers versus guessing one Bitcoin private key, you would have to win the Powerball 9 times in a row. I got I got fingers. It's okay. So here's the Powerball all the way up here at 28 bits, and here's the 256-bit key. And its number is astronomical. So let's even try and count this here. So that is 1 million, 1 billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, sextillion, septillion, octillion, nonillion, decillion. What is 11? 12 is like duodecillion. something like that. This is just an unbelievable number. It's like bigger than the universe. Basically, it's like all the atoms in the universe. So it's virtually physically impossible. I think it's one of those things that you could say that would be physically impossible, and your certainty would be as long as this number with a 1. You know, of like the uncertainty of it with a 1 at the end of this. So this is guessing any Bitcoin private key with a balance, So I'm not sure, you know, if that's even really a relevant thing at the end of it. So that's guessing any Bitcoin private key, and this is guessing a specific Bitcoin private key. Impossible. So that's why crypto is pretty secure. So it would be literally easier to like just kick in somebody's door and steal their computer or something like that, or find their code written down on a paper or something like that. This is kind of funny. My portfolio before and after January. It's about right. So I was on the crypto Reddit here, and honestly, there wasn't a lot of good. You know, I found that Powerball lottery, and that sweet tasty meme, that dank meme. And then there was this one. This one was kind of funny. It was basically entitled, when people ask me how my crypto portfolio is doing.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Yeah, so it's, again, about right, about correct. So there was the Ripple price there, and that was Trevin James's goofy Twitter where he says, "Glad I don't know more than I know." So either the FBI agent told him that if he knew any more, then he would be immediately arrested. I'm not even sure what this means. I think in his latest videos, he says that he's glad that he doesn't know anymore. Like, he's glad that he didn't know who the BitConnect developers were, and I'm not even sure why. I think he's trying to play stupid, and that's the thing. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? So if you blasted through an intersection and, you know, you told the cop, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that," that doesn't make it legal. It doesn't mean he's just going to go, "Okay, well, you know, just in case you did." You know, I mean, they might give you a warning. I don't know. But probably not for blasting through an intersection. But ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? If you have a tail light out on your car and you get pulled over by the cop and he gives you a ticket, you know, to get it fixed, and you tell him, "Oh, I didn't know that I had to have tail lights." Well, he goes, "Yeah, you got to have tail lights." Ignorance isn't an excuse. You could just use that for anything. I mean, you could go rob somebody and be like, "I didn't know robbing somebody was illegal," and you know, and then you could just get away with it. So it doesn't work like that, Trevin James. It just doesn't work like that. So I don't think he's going to go to jail. You know, if he just has to testify against BitConnect, well, then he's a rat, essentially. So he made $1 million just to rat on the people that made him $1 million. So don't bite the hand that feeds you, but only bite the hand that feeds you when you're scared that you're going to go to jail and be a rat, I guess. So not looking good, not looking too good for Trevin James. But I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed this super long episode, and I will see you guys next time.